This story is about a man who was summoned to another world to fight monsters. After fighting them for 20 years, he returned to Earth. At first, the man indulged in the basic luxuries a peaceful life could offer: hot showers and cold air in hot weather and that kind of stuff. After 20 years of monster blood and mud, even a shower feels like a legendary luxury. However, he had no time to enjoy his freedom as he was instantly confronted by a creepy-looking monster staring down his apartment window. This completely takes him aback. Imagine paying rent just to make eye contact with a demon outside your window. Just then, the building intercom announces how a corrosion rift has appeared within the complex, cautioning the residents to evacuate to the underground shelter immediately. The man was still in a state of shock when things took an even darker turn. More and more monsters appeared at his window, eventually breaking down the glass. It seems like the monsters respawned alongside him. Separation anxiety much? My guy fought monsters for 20 years, and his first day back on Earth is already cardio. The man eventually survives the monster's pursuit, but soon comes face to face with a kid. He cautions the kid to hurry to the shelter, as the site is dangerous. But the kid instead questions if he saw where the monster went. He bluntly reveals he is going to kill the monster and asks if the man wants to join. The man knew he could not leave the kid by himself, and just like that, he ended up tagging along with him. The kid reveals that the Earth has been like this for 13 years now. According to the thread, a corrosion nest is an exit that monsters come out of, and nobody knows why they form or when and where they will appear. Hearing this, the man's face turns pale as realization hits him. It's ironic that he went through that living hell to come back to Earth, only to find out that this place has become a hellhole too. God was really testing his strongest soldier a little too hard. The kid becomes confused and questions why he does not know any of this. The man makes up an excuse that he was living in America for a while, shocking the kid, and he wonders how he managed that. He says he saw on YouTube you cannot come to Korea from there, and even the US president got impeached for trying to secretly send his daughter here. But the man could not understand a single thing he said. Our guy missed 20 years of lore updates. Give him a break, kid. He tries to shift the topic and questions about the hunter the kid likes. The kid cheerfully reveals it is Lee Si-yoon. She is in the Janabi Guild, ranked 10th on Earth, and her main weapon is a great sword. Right now, she is dealing with a corrosion rift, but the man stops the kid's rambling by putting his hand on his mouth as he senses some presence. They were now near a lot of monsters. The man quickly calculates that there are 6 in total, with one of them hiding. He is just glad that his body seems to have above-average strength. He observes the kids shivering in fear behind him, and he wonders what to do with them. Where did his determination to kill monsters from earlier go? He knows something bad will happen to him if he leaves him alone. But he couldn't do something without a proper weapon as well. However, he soon senses mana in the air. It is the same as what he saw in that world. In that case, he knows exactly what to do. Using the mana from the air, he attacks one of the monsters, taking it by surprise. In truth, the man had built mana for 20 years, which is gone now. But if there is mana in the air, he can still use the paradox flame technique. And so, gathering enough mana, he was able to defeat the monster. The kid's eyes sparkled with a newfound respect for the man, as he was a little skeptical about him earlier. The kid then reveals that on the official Hunter Academy YouTube channel, they said confirming the kill is important. He rushes towards the monster even though the man tells him to wait. Certified YouTube tutorial victim. Just then, the monster from earlier, who was surrounded with flames, began to lunge towards the kid. The man was able to protect him just in time, suggesting this is exactly why you shouldn't learn monster hunting from YouTube shorts. He then borrows the kid's staff and defeats the rest of the monsters within a few minutes. The kid was amazed and questioned if he is secretly a hunter, but the man was stuck in his own thoughts. He had not expected to smell the stench of blood even after coming to Earth. He couldn't help but feel better that he went through all that hell hoping to rest easily. But if this is what Earth is like now, then it is no different from that world. The man, along with the kids, soon reached the underground bunker where the other residents of the apartment complex were gathered. The kid, Yoon Seong's mother, soon spots him and rushes towards him. She cries in relief as she thanks the man for bringing her kid here. However, the man couldn't help but notice the luxury earrings and designer clothes the woman was wearing, and he deduced the kid was a rich young master. Bro accidentally escorted a VIP client. Suddenly, the bunker begins to shake wildly. All eyes went towards the wall, which instantly broke apart as a monster appeared. It roars, causing people to shriek in pain and run away. The man couldn't help but remain stuck in his place. He just wanted to return to the world he knew, to his home that he missed so dearly. Did he ask for too much? He asks Yoon Seong why he is trying to become a hunter even though he is rich. He suggests the kid just hides somewhere safe and lives comfortably rather than fighting. The kid then dejectedly reveals that he lost his dad to a monster. A corrosion rift opened, and the underground bunker they thought was safe. That is when he realized that there is no safe place on Earth. So even though he is not strong like the Mr. yet and monsters are still scary, he is going to become the strongest hunter, get rid of all the rifts, and save the world. The man couldn't help but become shocked by his determination. He smiles, telling the boy he will become a great hunter, but it is just that he will not be able to save the world. Yoon Seong's mother tries to pull him away, suggesting that they should go now. However, they get interrupted as there is a sudden explosion from behind. When the boy looks behind, he sees the Mr. using his flame technique on the monster, defeating it. The man says he will not save the world because it is he who will do it. It is a job for someone who has done it before, after all. Fortunately, the man survived the rift attack by drawing on his past life's experience. He had also promised the kid he would save the world. However, he ends up doing nothing, if you count playing video games as nothing, that is. It might be true that someone who has saved the world once can save it again. But so what? The man had said it with confidence in front of everyone, but his desire to save the world didn't last long. The games and abundant food he could dream of in another world, and a system where you can do anything with just one touch. He now has it all. After 20 years of fighting monsters, my guy discovered the ultimate boss battle, laziness. Besides, when it comes to saving the world, there are already hunters for that. He opens his phone to order some delivery, but is shocked to see that he has already spent all his severance pay. The original owner of this body, Yoo Chan-seok, was an employee at a logistics company. He lost his job when the company went bankrupt due to a corrosion rift one day. Now that his severance pay has run out, he has already tried to find a new job, but there is no way he can get a normal job. It is because most companies are going out of business due to constantly appearing corrosion drifts. He finally sees a notification of hunter recruitment on his own, and he guesses it might be considerable, as he has experience in this line of work. Meanwhile, at the Hunter Association, people were gathering for the hunter selection process. One of the candidates was so confident and boasted that the selection technique is just a formality, and these days you could select it just by showing the unique skill. However, their attention diverts as they notice Lee Si-yoon from Janabi. They are immediately starstruck. Later, in the match area, Si-yoon goes through the candidates' profiles. She talks about how practice in real combat is completely different. And so, there are many cases where academy students who achieve great results might not do the same in combat. As the first match announcement is made, she looks forward to seeing the candidates, hoping they raise their value enough to make her want to take them. Everyone, including the host, was taken aback as he announced that the candidate is a civilian who is not even from the Hunter Academy, Yoo Chan-seok. Our protagonist was still not used to the new name but made his way to the podium. He is given a weapon and faces his opponent. Meanwhile, the host announces the rules of the game. Personal weapons other than those provided by the association were not allowed in. Inflicting life-threatening injuries was appropriated. Yoo Chan-seok knows the first thing he needs to do as a hunter is to save the world that is destined to fall. Simultaneously, he must live and eat well. To do that, he needs to get good results in this tournament. The host signals the beginning of the match, and Chan-seok's opponent instantly lunges towards him, confident that he is weak. The blondie was so confident, declaring himself as the undefeated spear master of the hunter. Whenever someone calls themselves undefeated, you already know the plot is about to humble them. Chan-seok doesn't waste time. He lowers the spear to the ground, and in the next second, he vanishes. His opponent becomes dumbfounded. Chan Seok appears from behind and casually reveals to the opponent that he is clumsy with a spear before driving a punch straight into the guy's stomach. Before the poor guy can even recover, another punch snaps his head back. The fight ends almost instantly. Honestly, he expected more. He only used his fists because using the spear might have seriously hurt him. But it was even more shocking to see that this guy's just a beginner. Si-yoon, on the other hand, was shocked to witness this. She couldn't believe that someone whose previous job was working at a logistics company was so powerful. The man sitting beside her reveals that the candidate has almost no mana accumulated in his body. To generate that much power, he would need to accumulate mana over a long time. He continues rambling until he gets interrupted when the woman throws a candy towards him. He knew it was her sign telling him to shut up. On the other hand, Chan Seok decides to finish this decisively. He assures his opponent it won't be a fatal wound and instantly flat punches him in this face, making him collapse to the floor. With that, he was declared the winner. Si-yoon watches how busy everyone is evaluating the candidate, and so she takes this opportunity to make her move. She leaves the place, deciding to see his real skills. Her subordinate questions where she is going, to which she reveals she needs to see the association president. Meanwhile, Chan Seok continuously fought different candidates, but to his surprise, they were all too weak. No matter how many matches he fights, the guys coming out are all about the same level. This slightly makes him disappointed as he wonders what on earth they teach at this hunter academy. There must be at least one decent hunter. For the grand finale, candidate Han Sang-ah makes her way to the podium. The host, along with the audience, wondered if she would finally stop the march of this mysterious super rookie. Chan Seok comments that she is at least the one who has gathered the most man out of everyone he has seen today. Sang-ah sighs, saying that he has nothing. She says there will be no more flukes, even though he has gotten this far by luck. Her eyes shone bright with determination as she said that he must not have a unique skill as he is just throwing punches, but that does not mean she will go easy on him. Okay girl, Chan Seok actually did have a unique skill, but he's not using it because he thinks she will get hurt if he does. Pretty ironic if you ask me. Sang-ah takes a deep breath and activates her skills. Infusing her sword with lightning, she swings it towards the guy, but he manages to dodge it by jumping above it. Sang-ah remains stunned. In contrast, Chan Seok smiles, impressed. He realized her trick. She used electricity to make the blade magnetic, turning the sword draw into a railgun attack. He admits that her skills are the best so far, but she has missed the most important thing. Upon asking, he says it is thinking about when to attack. He points out how she was too focused on just attacking quietly. According to him, Sang-ah's mistake was that, to accelerate the drawn sword even faster, she laid down a magnetic rail in the empty air. No matter how fast and powerful it is, what kind of an idiot would take an attack with a path that is in plain sight? Sang-ah becomes irritated and tells him not to get too cocky. She boasts that she can beat his likes even without using that technique. But Chan Seok also had no intention to back down and call her an idiot, saying that he dodged her fastest attack, so there is no way he would get hit by this. As she thrusts her lightning technique towards him, he knew she was overdoing it and forcing herself to scrape together mana. If she keeps this up, her body is going to get wrecked. To her shock, Chan Seok successfully manages to close the distance between them and suggests they stop here. Before striking her in the abdomen, he advises her to raise her left hand if it hurts. He continues to punch her repeatedly until she collapses to the ground. The audience was shocked to see this rookie overwhelmed the top student of the academy. Chan Seok knows she must have relied on mana and neglected her physical training to go down from that. He watches her raise her left hand and smiles. A man suddenly appears on the stage and whispers something in the host's ear. The host then reveals that the tournament schedule has been changed, and he asks the winner to take a short break. He then reveals that in a moment, the winner and an active hunter will have a special match. Chan Seok was completely taken aback, and he watched as the audience began to erupt with murmurs and shock. It is because the opponent has already been announced on the monitor that only the audience can see. Judging by their reactions, he guesses it must be a pretty skilled hunter. Seeing that a special match has been announced, he wonders if she stepped up herself to test his abilities. It seems things like this are the same in that world and on Earth. The scene shifts to the mysterious opponent making her way to the podium. She exchanged greetings with Chan Seok, introducing herself as Lee Se-yoon. She apologizes for showing up without any warning, saying there was no other way to confirm his skills. And so, she suggests they have a match. She understands if he refuses, as it is so sudden. Chan Seok instantly recognizes her. He notices how the aura and composure coming from her body right now are not a bluff at all. This woman is a real pro. He knows in his current body it will be tough even with his spear, but he smiles in a grimace at the challenge. He decides to get the best possible results in the tournament. He grabs his weapon and smirks, suggesting that he raise his value. Both clash their weapons intensely, but only one of them was barely hanging on, Chan Seok. He wonders how can a woman's body have this much power. Compared to the beginning, his speed has dropped considerably. He knows if there are few openings, this body just does not have the physical ability to exploit them. Se-yoon smirks, saying she was hoping for a good warm-up in a while, but he seems tired already. She admits he did well but thought he would last about 5 minutes. She didn't think he would hold out for 30 minutes straight. She swung her sword, suggesting she will make it easy for him. Chan Seok stood panting. He has practically no mana stored up, and there is not much in the atmosphere either. He didn't want to use it, but he guesses he must. And so, just as the formatting draws closer, he activates his technique, Paradox Flame. And so he is able to dodge her attack, taking her back a bit. She had swung with enough force that he shouldn't have been able to dodge. Sensing the aura radiating from him, she questions what it is. Flame is his specialty. He used it constantly before returning to Earth. Chan Seok trusts this power the most. As you can tell from his unscathed clothes, unlike normal flames, this black flame cannot burn matter. Instead, each of these flames burns using the abstract concepts he has designated as fuel. With his current output, he cannot burn concepts with high ignition points like self-memory or reason. As he makes his way forward to his opponent, he decides that the concept he will burn right now is fatigue. Se-yoon is shocked to see that he had recovered in such a short time, and his speed had increased as well. She becomes alert, wondering what it is. The concentration of mana in the air keeps fluctuating between high and low. Just as fire releases heat when it burns matter, Paradox Flame also releases mana as it burns abstract concepts. Chan Seok uses mana to ignite the Paradox Flame, and the Paradox Flame in turn burns his fatigue to generate more mana. It is an endless cycle. In other words, his specialty is being someone who clings to another's leg and won't let go. A war of attrition? He smiles at Se-yoon and says he can still keep going, but he mocks and asks if she likes guys who don't know when to quit. Se-yoon coldly responds that she absolutely hates them. When you set a tree on fire, only the ashes are left behind, and ashes that have already burned cannot be burned again. Likewise, Paradox Flame also leaves behind a residue. If everything is burned away until only ash remains, that will be when the Paradox Flame disappears. Sometime later, Se-yoon checks her watch and notes that Chan Seok managed to hold out for 4 hours and 17 minutes. By now, he is lying on the floor, barely clinging to life, desperately begging her to spare him. With that, Hunter Lee Se-yoon is declared the victor. To all her subordinates' shock, she takes out a lollipop and hands it to Chan Seok for his hard work, revealing that she put her business card in there with it. She tells him to give her a call, so they talk later about the details. With that, the hunter selection trials were concluded. Chan Seok was called on stage to receive his award, but he was in his own thoughts, wondering if Janabi is a hunter's agency. Later, he bites through the lollipop and goes through his phone applications, amazed it had literally everything in it. He is soon approached by a tall, big guy who hands him his agency number. He introduces himself as Seong Hyun, a partner hunter from the Tibik Guild, suggesting he join their group. This reminds Chan Seok of Se-yoon's words. He knows he cannot give this guy a firm answer, as he has a prior engagement. And so, Chan Seok puts the card in his pocket and tells the man he will think about it a little more before making a decision. Seong Hyun burst into laughter, saying he was not going to demand an answer right here and now. But his demeanor darkens as he places his hand on the man's shoulder, suggesting he better think this through properly. As he leaves, Chan Seok knows he's skipping the Tibik group. He calls Se-yoon instead and asks where he should go. She responds that she is at the hut on the second floor of the Hunter Association building and sends him her location. They finally got to meet. Chan Seok reveals to her how earlier one recruit tried to recruit him for a guard. Si-yoon calmly reveals that since Seong Hyun showed interest in him, the other guilds would not have even dared to make an offer. He questions if it isn't the same for Janabi, to which Si-yoon says she does not intend on recruiting him. Instead, she suggests working without being affiliated with a guild as a freelancer. She guesses that Seong Hyun was probably going to offer him a junior position. Si-yoon remembers that he was not from the Hunter Academy as he questions about the partner Hunter and Junior. She means that the training for the ranks of hunters belonging to a guild is usually divided into three: Junior, Senior, and Partner. Juniors and seniors belong to teams led by partner hunters, and he thinks they are salaried employees. Partner hunters have shares in the guild instead of a salary, and it might be easier to think of them as business owners sharing net profits the guild earns. She says he doesn't necessarily have to belong to a guild and go through the junior and senior ranks to become a partner hunter. Surprisingly, Chan Seok was able to understand what she was saying. If he becomes famous and achieves respectable results, they will automatically come looking for him. As he confirms that, Si-yoon smiles and offers him a candy, confusing him as to why she keeps giving him that. Chan Seok, however, raises this question of how. He has no connections or experience, so it will be hard for him to get proper requests. To that, Si-yoon offers to help him free of charge, but Chan Seok does not understand why she's so keen on helping him. She reveals that in the future, when he has built enough of a reputation to be recruited by the guild, he must think of Janabi. She then gives him an envelope, saying it is a request from Incheon City. A corrosion zone formed 2 years ago in one of the places after a failed attempt to eliminate a corrosion rift. She reveals he will have to patrol the island to see if any additional corrosion rifts have appeared and get rid of them. Chan Seok reads on the benefits of how he will have 5 million won upfront with an additional 15 million upon success. He says the pay isn't exactly that great considering this is a life-threatening job. Si-yoon laughs. She suggests he gets stronger and becomes famous if it feels unfair. If it does, money will flow in his pockets even if they are full, and so Chan Seok agrees to the mission. Later, Si-yoon reports to her boss about him. She was truly impressed that the boy had lasted 4 hours against her, as she continues rambling about it. But her boss says that no matter how highly she rates the new guy, the island mission specifically requests hunters with prior mission experience. His skills may be excellent, but he might not be able to hold his own teaming up with veteran hunters. Si-yoon tells him not to worry about that. It is because she has paired him with someone reliable. Her boss agrees with him and then questions what she thinks the new guy will be like if he reaches her level. Si-yoon replies that if the new guy reaches her level, he will be able to take down. A month ago, Chan Seok received a hunter-exclusive PR package. He got his spear and an elixir. An elixir is a potion with condensed mana used in emergencies. The typical way to handle mana is like drinking water from a water purifier. You control the mana in the atmosphere, store it in your body, and use it when needed. The elixir lets you do that process in a brief time. Chan Seok uses mana in an unusual way than others. He skips the storage process and directly uses the mana from the atmosphere infinitely. Moreover, in the process of taking it in and letting it out, the mana channels that the mana passes through gradually strengthen, allowing for use of more of it. The only downside is that until the mana channels grow, the amount he can handle is small, which makes it difficult to produce a strong output in a short time. He decides to train with it for about a month so he can grow just as much as he needs. Back in the present at Incheon City's Jayadongdo Island, many hunters lined up. Chan Seok had been surprisingly paired up with none other than Sang-ah. She was glad they were on the same team. She admits that Chan Seok is stronger than her, so she can watch and learn from him. Chan Seok tries to shift the conversation from the embarrassment, but she takes him literally when he says that his shoulders are about to fall off from awe. Sang-ah rambles on, questioning if his shoulder is dislocated often. This only confirms that she has no sense of humor. The others from the squad finally joined them, and their supervisor gathered them together. It debriefs how corrosion rifts are classified as Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and unclassified. The closer the rift is to Class 1, the more dangerous it is. Additionally, the first corrosion rift to appear in a specific area is given the additional name, Alpha. Currently, the location of the Alpha corrosion rift on this island is the church in the northern part of Insarai. Although it is still an unclassified corrosion rift, considering the characteristic of corrosion rifts getting stronger over time, he asks them to refrain from approaching it. He asserts that their mission is to patrol these areas to identify and eliminate any additional corrosion rifts that may have appeared. But the other members of Squad 8 couldn't believe that they had an elimination mission with a rookie in their squad. As soon as they reach the island, Chan Seok listens to the other squad members to complain about how cold it is. They couldn't help but be surprised at how traumatic they would be in. He hears the other members decide on scouting out the two areas over the course of the week, but he budgets in and suggests they set up base at the temple and operate from there. But the other squad members instantly undermined him, as they had never seen him before. Upon questioning why they are going to the temple, he reveals that they can see one of their targeted areas, Yupnirai, from there. And from the peak of Hwagyesan, they can see Jayadongmyeon directly. And since the old temple building is still there, they can also use it for lodging. But the others were quick to criticize and come up with excuses. The truth is, they were not ready to follow orders of some inexperienced hunter, and so he suggests they just ask separately. Sang-ah follows Chan Seok, which he had expected, but there was another guy following him which he had not expected, whose manner was slightly higher than Sang-ah's. And so, he asks Min-ji why he followed them. Min-ji simply points out that it is the first time for both of them, and he was worried about letting two newcomers act on their own. Chan Seok smiles and thanks him, glad that there is at least one decent person here. Chan Seok, however, he suddenly stops and tells the other to wait. He tells them to be quiet and peek over the other side. Min-ji's eyes widen as he sees a lot of monsters. He suggests they take a detour as there are too many of them. But Chan Seok tells him to calm down and asks about his unique skills. Min-ji was surprised to see that he plans to fight them. He eventually reveals his unique skill is flame, and he is most confident in unleashing fireballs. But the color from his face drains as the rookie tells him to attack first on his signal. What shocks him further is that the girl seemed to oblige and trust the rookie as well. Sang-ah questions what she should do. Min-ji tries to talk some sense into them, saying it is reckless to face 50 of them with just the 3 of them. Besides, it is their first mission after all. He suggests they radio the other hunters while they still can. Chan Seok interjects, saying they will not arrive in time. Unlike them, who departed directly from the temple, the other hunters are currently searching along the coast. It is reckless to radio them because there is no guarantee the hunters who hear the radio will arrive, and if these things scatter while they wait, they could become a threat to the other hunters. Min-ji knew he was right. Even if there happens to be a hunter nearby, they may not come right away because of the earlier conflict. Chan Seok affirms that it only means they have to deal with them. In this disadvantageous situation, what they need to do is land a surprise attack. He begins to draw on the ground, explaining how Minj will first attack the center with the fireball and he will block the sights. Min-ji listens in shock as the rookie plans a detailed strategy, anticipating every possibility. For some reason, he gets the feeling that Chan Seok might not be a rookie, but instead an experienced hunter. They soon set their plan in motion. Min-ji hurries to the center while casting fireballs, grabbing the monster's attention. He then tells Chan Seok he needs a moment before he can fire the next fireball. Chan Seok assures him that he should shoot as soon as he is ready. He, on the other hand, rushes towards the sides. One thing you must know about Chan Seok is that he believes in maximum efficiency during battle. And so until the next fireball is ready, he took care of the other monsters so they cannot get close to Min-ji. Of course, he cannot block all of them by himself. That is why he believes dividing the roles is important. Thankfully, they also had Sang-ah. With her unique lightning skills, she was able to defeat the remaining monsters. Min-ji was ready to cast the next fireball, and the other two got out of his way. By the end, they had defeated all the monsters. Chan Seok turns back to congratulate everyone on doing a good job, but remains frozen in his tracks. Min-ji stared at him suspiciously while pointing a gun in his direction. Min-ji smiles and asks him to step aside. Chan Seok sighs in relief. He had thought Min-ji was going to shoot him. He watches him implant a microchip. Min-ji elaborates that once the mission is over and the area is secured, the junk dealer he has a contract with will come and collect them. He explains the corpse's byproducts are bulky and heavy. Hunters cannot carry them themselves. Therefore, if you tag them with chips like this, the junk dealers will come by after the mission is over and collect anything that looks valuable. They then appraise the items, sell them, and split the profits. They take their commissions based on the contract, and the rest goes back to the hunter who implanted the chip. Chan Seok asks if they can be trusted. Min-ji responds that this is exactly why it is important to find a good junk dealer and a good contract. He then goes on to praise Chan Seok for his strategy, but they get interrupted by the presence of a fierce monster. Chan Seok guesses it must be a mid-boss. Seeing the thing furious, he guesses it. He must have been the leader of those things from before. On top of it, the amount of mana it is giving off is on a completely different level from those small fries. Chan Seok tells the others not to interfere and that he will handle this. He knows that the other two will never be able to escape if it is after all of them. Min-ji knows the wise decision is to buy time with a pincer attack, fall back, and report the situation. Chan Seok thinks it is better that he handles this alone. He can use Paradox Flame without worrying about friendly fire and finish this as quickly as possible. Min-ji and Sang-ah watch Chan Seok hold out his best without getting hit even once. Sang-ah knew those are attacks she would have struggled just to dodge, but he is dodging and attacking at the same time. What is more is that when his spear lands his strike, black flames appear each time, making her wonder, what in the world is that? As the flame output increases, the monster gets much slower. At first, it looked like Chan Seok was struggling, but now he is toying with the monster. She was instantly starstruck, wondering if he is really as much of a rookie hunter as she is. Sang-ah and Min-ji watch in utter shock as he throws the spear midair. The monster comes closer and closer to him until he finally collapses to the floor as the spear hits him from above. The other two were shocked to witness the scene. To Min-ji, it looked like the hunter was getting pushed back, but now the monster is down. Chan Seok asks him if it is normal for a monster like this to appear on the island. Min-ji says he was wondering about it too. For an entity that is not even the core of the corrosion rift, it could be possible if this were a corrosion zone with a rift that was at least rated in grade 3. During the pre-mission briefing, Chan Seok remembers hearing that the alpha corrosion rift on the island was unclassified. He deduces that it seems the alpha corrosion rift on the island has gone up to grade 3. He says there is no other way to explain the situation if it is not grade 3. Min-ji remains stunned, clarifying that the difference between an unclassified rift and a grade 3 is like night and day. If this is true, then the number of hunters who can make it back alive will be close to none. He slightly panics as he suggests they go save the other hunters. But to his astonishment, Chan Seok refuses to do so. He says he can in no way save every hunter wandering this island by himself, as he has his limits too. He asserts that their mission is not to save hunters in peril, but rather to identify and eliminate any new corrosion rifts that have appeared. Plus, when you are doing this kind of work, you cannot expect everyone to come out alive. Sang-ah stares at him with a serious expression and questions him. What if he were in that situation? She questions if it would not feel unfair or resentful. Chan Seok's demeanor darkens as he coldly says he is not saying this because he does not understand the emotions people would feel. He is talking about the outcome. In this world, some deaths are unavoidable. He elaborates that when you face a death like that, no matter what you think or what you feel, you die. So they should not be swayed by desperate situations, as they cannot survive in a world like this with that kind of mindset. They soon reached the temple building and checked thoroughly to see if there are any traces of corrupted beings. Fortunately, there were none. Thanks to the lights, Min-ji could see other hunters' locations, but Chan Seok knows using lights is dangerous since it reveals your location. If there were just another bunch of weak monsters, it wouldn't matter if your position was revealed. But if another one of those things from earlier shows up, they will be doomed. He decides to at least send a warning message in the group thread. He then asks Min-ji further about the corrosion rift. Apparently, if you destroy the core of the rift, all the corrupted beings will disappear. Hearing this, Chan Seok believes the solution is simple. He will just have to destroy the corrosion rift. Soon, Sang-ah and Min-ji fell asleep. Chan-seok remembers how the device would sound an alarm if a monster approached, so he decides to let them rest and come back without worrying. It is a good thing he confirmed the location of the Alpha Corrosion Rift during the briefing, and so he believes at this rate things should go smoothly. But as he is about to make his way to the Alpha Corrosion Rift zone, he comes face to face with another gruesome creature. He's about to attack it, but takes a sudden pause as he sees the familiar face. Meanwhile, at the island's Hunter Association Situation Room, there was an intel about losing signals of some hunters from Team 5 who were presumed to be dead. They also confirmed one casualty from Team 3. Apparently, there were reports that monsters were moving in an organized fashion. They began to declare it as an emergency, and a need for reinforcement was being considered. However, they soon get a report that someone is approaching the Alpha Corrosion Rift. The manager has one of his people contact the hunter and tell them to stop at once. They soon identified the individual heading towards the Alpha Corrosion Rift to be Hunter Yu Chan-seok from Team 8. The manager was shocked and asked his subordinate to connect to his terminal immediately and confirm that he was alive. He is aware that a Corrosion Rift upgrade is an unprecedented event, and this hunter is the first to grasp the situation and head to the Corrosion Rift. If anyone has an answer, it must be him. However, as soon as he is connected, he hears Hunter Chan-seok cursing the management for not properly identifying and investigating that this is an unclassified zone. He continues cursing, making the management team wonder if they should just mute him. Currently, Chan-seok was running for his life from the strong entity. His paradox flame in its current state wasn't strong enough to kill it. Against a strong entity, he has to whittle down its health with paradox flame and then finish it off with his spear. But this stubborn beast won't go down. Chan-seok drew too much of the island's mana for the giant bat. During the day, its power is so much weaker than usual. He knows since he cannot leave the island, he needs to find a place on the island where he can draw mana. He finally finds a place and rushes his way towards it. Meanwhile, the management team loses the GPS signal as the hunter enters the rift. Chan-seok finds the place cleaner than he had expected. He heard unclassified and grade 3 corrosion rifts were not that big. He now wonders how big grades 1 and 2 are. He then turns towards the monstrous, suggesting they put an end to their relationship as he is not the clingy type. The monster roars and charges his way towards the hunter. One of the biggest problems of Paradox Flame is that if it reaches a level he can no longer control, it has the drawback of becoming unusable. Chan-seok activates his skill and swings his sword towards the beast. The beast roars in pain while covered with the black flames. Chan-seok comments that if he fights alone, it is as good as not having a drawback at all. He begins to absorb the mana from the place. As it spreads to every corner of his body, it widens his mana pathways, making them stronger. He then smiles, feeling energetic. The beast roars, signaling for others to appear. But Chan-seok sneers that trying to overwhelm him with numbers is meaningless now. He surrounds the place with black flames, declaring himself several times stronger than before, even though it is still not enough to compare to his time in the other world. He then begins to ponder over the location of the core of the corrosion rift. According to Min Yi, it is supposed to be the strongest corrosion creature in this space. However, he senses a certain presence coming from behind, coldly telling him to stop. Chan-seok evades the attack and smiles as he sees it was one of the monsters. He calls it smart for being able to talk. He guesses the core of a corrosion rift is on another level. He guesses at this level he should be able to manage a 4-head combo. He charges at the monsters, smoothly swinging his sword and activating his dual orbit sphere. The attack pierces through the enemy's blade and forces him back. As Chan-seok swings, a blue trail follows the path of his strike. That trail repeats his attack several times, copying the same movement like an echo. If he strikes together with those echoes, it becomes a rapid chain of attacks. But if the echoes strike a moment later instead, the enemy ends up getting hit from multiple directions, making the attack extremely hard to dodge. And Chan-seok was waiting for exactly that mistake. He eventually finds an opening and lunges towards the creature, defeating him instantly. The creature instantly dissipates and turns into a box to his surprise. He opens the box and is shocked to find what is inside. Meanwhile, the management team was losing signals from the hunters. The manager saw no hope and wondered if this was over. Unless a miracle happens, he wonders if he has no choice but to stand here and watch as the hunters are all wiped out. But he soon gets a message from Chan Seok, who entered the Alpha Corrosion Rift. His subordinate puts it on the main screen. Apparently, the rift had been taken care of, and elimination had been confirmed of all corrosion creatures that encountered the hunters. The manager couldn't believe his eyes. It was a miracle after all. Chan Seok peacefully stares at the sky, finding it pretty. While Chan Seok was busy dealing with the Alpha Corrosion Rift, Sang-ah and Min-ji had their hands full with fighting off the monsters that infiltrated the temple building. But there were too many of them, and Sang-ah and Min-ji were at their limit. Sang-ah was injured and drained, and her legs were beginning to shake. When a monster suddenly lunged at her, she tried to move, but her body refused to respond. Just when she thought she was doomed, all the monsters began to dissipate. The two wonder what had just happened. Little do they know that somewhere far away, Chan Seok had basically pressed the delete all enemies button. Back in the present, Chan Seok makes his way to the island hunter assembly point. He comes to note that there are a lot of injured people, making him guess the corrosion creatures went on a rampage while he was gone. When the hunters learned that a single rookie had cleared a grade 3 corrosion rift alone, shock spread quickly. Chan Seok makes his way towards his squad members. Min-ji expresses that he was shocked when he got his text, unable to believe he could think of taking on the crossing drift alone. Chan Seok cheekily remarks that to protect the hunters, it wasn't his body that moved, but his heart. But their conversation was interrupted when a man introduced himself as Jiang Ti, a branch manager from the Courier Operating Corporation. He explained that the mayor wanted to meet Chan Seok immediately. As he makes his way to the corporation's building, he realizes the contract did not mention how much of a bonus he would receive for clearing a grade 3 corrosion rift. Since he's here, he decides to negotiate the prize. Saving the island is cool and all, but let's talk about the paycheck first. Pilyi, the communications and liaison officer, introduces himself and guides him towards the mayor's office. Pilyi reveals how the mayor canceled his entire morning after hearing the report from the island early. He excitedly reveals that a rookie hunter destroying a grade 3 corrosion rift single-handedly has not happened since the very first hunter was still active. They soon make their way towards Mayor Park's office. They soon settled down and began talking. The mayor recognizes Chan Seok's contributions towards their country. In fact, he gets so excited while praising him that Chan Seok almost chokes on his tea. Bro got attacked by a speech instead of monsters this time. He continues praising Korea and all the revolutions it has gone through to become a popular and safe country. He then promises to ensure that his path as a hunter will be a smooth one. Chan Seok helps him talk and remembers the conversation he had with the branch manager in the car. The branch manager had questioned his purpose for being a hunter, to which he revealed that if there is a clogged toilet spewing filth, someone has to dive into the dirty water and unclog it. The branch manager here is this and expresses that he will become famous. There will be companies asking him to shoot commercials, and he may even get scouted for famous TV shows. Apparently, saving the world now also comes with brand sponsorships. Chan Seok correctly deduces that the branch manager is worried he will change due to fame. Apparently, there are many cases of promising hunters who become intoxicated with popularity and honor and lose sight of their duty. He reveals that just across the truce line, the dangerous corrosion zone is full of menacing monsters. The only safe place is Korea, and it is called the last sanctuary left on Earth. But even that is being swayed by the power of capital. The branch manager hopes for him to continue being a symbol of hope. After hearing that, Chan Seok was curious about how far they would go. He smiles as he notices the mayor is not even trying to hide it, but just laying it all out on the table. Unfortunately for him, Chan Seok is not the type to be swayed by something like this. Having lived for so long, he has suffered through countless hardships. He tells the mayor that if he is going to provide him with this much support, he is sure to do something in return. He then points out that he is helping a mayor with falling approval ratings to get reelected. He couldn't believe the hunter had read him so quickly and coughed awkwardly. Chan Seok points out that the mayor's term is scheduled to end early next year. Looking at how things are going, he states that the general consensus is that re-election will be difficult. The mayor was shocked to see him being so direct and points out that he needs approval from Incheon City Hall to participate in this commission. Chan Seok is aware that, unlike what the announcement said, it is true that for a rookie like him to participate, he needed the mayor's permission. If he frames it well, he will be a talent discovered by Incheon. But he also knows the risks of the mayor going around bragging that he is a talent discovered by him. But he could tell that the mayor just wanted to ride his coattails after roping him into something like that. The mayor tries to coax him by suggesting that he become the model for the next coffee mix brand he drinks. But Chan Seok icily interrupts him, commenting that it seems he takes him for someone cheap. He explains that looking at the news these days, it feels like the world could use someone that can change the dreary atmosphere. And thus, a new face is needed, which means that if a talent like him continues to work as a hunter, everything that Mayor Park said he could give him as his share to take anywhere. Realizing the situation was getting out of his hand, the mayor stutters and promises to provide him with safe and high-paying commissions, saying he can select and offer them to him. Chan Seok acknowledges his conditions and suggests he give his congratulations to the coffee mix model since he will be able to extend his contract. The scene shifts to one of the corporation's colleagues reporting to a mysterious figure about how the island corrosion rift test was a failure. But he provides him with good news, a clip from Chan Seok's Hunter Association certification exam video. The mysterious figure carefully observes the newcomer and smiles, admitting he is excellent. The first of every month is the exact moment the whole nation of Korea looks forward to. It is time for World Hunter rankings to be disclosed. Usually there is not much change in the rankings, so it is merely entertainment for the public. Despite that, everyone was excited for this year's rankings as well, including the hunters. The country's president, who was handed over the September World Hunter rankings while everyone watched on their screens. Si-yoon wonders if that newcomer guy is on it too. Chan Seok believes that only the first 10 rankings matter despite the flashy show they put on. In 10th place was Lee Si-yoon, in 5th place was Kim Ki-hyun, in 3rd place was Yuriam, and in 2nd place was T Seok. But to everyone's surprise, Chan Seok got 1st place in the Hunter rankings. Suddenly, a man appears and says that Chan Seok has waited a long time and can now leave. The man then shows the list of new hunters and says he saw his name among the rookies. A message appears congratulating the protagonist for entering the rankings in record time. A 5-year veteran hunter solo clearing a grade 3 corrosion rift is such a common occurrence that it would barely be recognized in the hunter community. But it is an entirely different story if it is the first mission of a newly debuted hunter. And so it came as no surprise when Chan Seok was surrounded by thousands of fans and reporters wanting to know more about him. He couldn't help but feel like a kid on one of those Finding Geniuses TV shows. One of the reporters questions his mindset as a hunter or a word of resolution from him. Chan Seok asserts that he does not believe in cliches and really shows it to them with results. The scene shifts to Chan Seok traveling with the president, and he shows him the Gonzal present, which has now been destroyed due to the corrosion rifts appearing suddenly. The president explains that after the corrosion rifts appeared, most countries lost their administrative capabilities. As a result, many capitals disappeared after the rifts appeared. However, South Korea alone became a powerhouse that not only successfully defended the nation, but also even made technological advancements. That includes the helicopter they're riding in right now, which runs on mana and blocks out external noise. The president further reveals as they exit the helicopter that there are 8 of the most dangerous corrosion rifts in the world. One of them is Gonsul Prison. It certainly formed 13 years ago, spreading from the city center in a massive circle without any signs or warnings. There were some who barely survived, but in a space that had already turned into a corrosion zone, they were all swept away without even getting a chance to flee. In just a few days, the entire city disappeared without a sound. The president further elaborates that despite the appearance of the rifts, the influence of each niche nation has not changed much. But internally, the power of central governments has weakened. Chan Seok appreciates the new information, but he does not know what he wonders. What does this have to do with the president calling him here? The president reveals that a few days ago, Seong Hyun from Tbik came to find him. He points out how annoyed he seems that Chan Seok did not join Tbik. Chan Seok instantly remembers him, but he becomes shocked when the president reveals that man abruptly asked him for his whereabouts. He obviously didn't tell him because it is personal information, but he tells the newcomer that the ideology of that guild is survival of the fittest, and so they might try to subdue him by force. Chan Seok sighs in annoyance. Right now, it would be hard to beat that guy with brute strength, so he finds the situation pretty troublesome. The president had quickly comprehended that the newcomer wants to do things on his own rather than belonging to a guild. He suggests the newcomer raise his own standing, like going on major missions proposed by the association president. Chan Seok had expected there to be a motive all along and asked the president if there is something he wants, considering he will not give them to him for free. The president asserts that it is the clear fact that he gave him help. That is all he needs to remember. Chan Seok takes the file, knowing it isn't difficult and it is not a bad deal at all. Since it is a mission from the president, it will be good for building his reputation. Upon asking, the president reveals that he will be escorting a cargo ship from Busan to Nanning City. Because of the corrosion zones, transporting daily necessities is not easy. Chan Seok, however, was shocked to see the president's perception of daily necessities. It is because the file included a list of Rolexes, high-end porcelain liquor, and luxurious cars. The president says for some people they are necessities and that he thought he or all people would understand. Because obviously, when civilization collapses, the top priority is flex culture, not canned beans. Chan Seok declines. Smart, the dude just realized saving people doesn't pay in Gucci. The president says that though countries are collapsing due to the rifts, international politics isn't meaningless, and so this is necessary for maintaining certain relationships. Chan Seok comprehends this and says he will decline this one. The president was shocked and affirmed that the Korean government considers this matter very important, but Chan Seok thinks it would be foolish for an individual to get swept into the center of politics. The president frowns and reminds the guy that he is a rookie hunter who has just debuted and excessive attention has become poison to him. But Chan Seok couldn't listen to him, ramble more, and drop the stack of papers midair. He coldly thanks the president for the helicopter ride, saying he will swim to Seoul on his own. And without warning, he jumps from the helicopter. The president watches in shock as the hunter lands in water. Later, around sunset, a man watches an individual jump out of the water. It was Chan Seok. He complains about how he thought he was going to die. The man was so shocked but would only provide sympathetic words instead of questioning what happened. Chan Seok knows he must build his strength and prioritize solving the trickiest requests and become a big shot. That is so he will not be swayed by anyone else. As he scrolls through his phone, he finally finds a reasonable mission. The estimated corrosion rift appeared to be grade 2. He sighs deeply, knowing he is going to be busy for a while. On September 3rd, a few fishermen went out at sea for the jumbo shrimp season. However, the sea was different from usual. Corrosion creatures that nested on Tsushima Island appeared and kidnapped the fishermen as if hunting for them. According to the words of a survivor who barely escaped, the captured fishermen are still alive. And so, Chan Seok's task is to go to that island, rescue the captured hostages, and eliminate the corrosion rift. The reward was 55 million won. That is the thing that attracts him the most. It was not a bad amount considering he is handling this mission solo. Plus, if he succeeds, he gets a plausible heroic story and immense fame to boot. It is worth the challenge. But he had heard corrosion creatures are on a different dimension depending on their grade. If a grade 3 rift has the destructive power of a tank, then a grade 2 corrosion rift creature is natural disaster level. For a grade 1, the whole country has to mobilize a single creature. To Chan Seok, grade 3 was no problem because he used Paradox Flame, but he doubts withstanding the grade 2 rift. To eliminate variables, he knows he might need someone useful. However, the useful guides would not even look at a civilian request like this. However, his mind starts to work and he thinks of someone useful. The scene shifts to the sea. Chan Seok had now changed into warrior armor and was traveling with none other than Sang-ah. Upon her questioning, he estimates that they will reach the island in about an hour. Now, He suggests she replenish her stamina before they arrive, as it is going to be a tougher battle than last time. But Sang-ah was too occupied gawking at the iron shoulder gear he was wearing and questions about where he got such a limited edition from. Chan Seok reveals that the junk dealer he contracted with this time gave it to him as a gift. When Sang-ah says that the place she contracted with did not give her anything like that, he mocks that level of expectation is different for her, who is nothing but the title of Academy valedictorian. He suggests she gets stronger and becomes famous if she feels wrong. Sang-ah remembers when this ignorant guy requested her to be his teammate in a grade 2 corrosion rift. The idea of becoming stronger made her accept the invitation. Plus, Chan Seok promises to teach her, saying that she can become several times stronger than she is now. And so, if only to become stronger, Sang-ah is determined to jump into hell itself. As they make their way closer to the island, they soon begin to blare a warning of an unidentified object ahead. Chan Seok calculates that there are 5 ships in total. He tries to ask Sang-ah if she has any effective way to get there discreetly, but is shocked to see her tiptoeing midair. He smiles, unable to believe that she didn't tell him about this talent. Sang-ah was ecstatic to see that there is something he could not do. Chan Seok becomes infuriated as she makes fun of him, saying this is easy. He was pissed at the point that the beat Sang-ah in order to shut her up. He looks ahead and tells her to handle the nearest ship, as he feels mana emitting stronger the further back it goes. Sang-ah was first taken aback as she saw a human silhouette, but tells her to look carefully again, as those are not human movements. As she lands on the ship, he guides her that if she lands like that, she will blow out her knees and attract unwanted attention. That seemed to be true, as the monsters noticed them and made their way towards them. Chan Seok uses his skill on them to eliminate them and is relieved to find they are not high level and are the lowest tier of grade 2. However, he was shocked to see his teammate using her full power on these low-tier monsters. He quickly reprimands her, pointing out that she is using too much mana and at this rate she will run out in no time. She says for this level, a much lower output is enough. Chan Seok continues to watch over her, suggesting that she reduces more and more of her mana. Sang-ah aggressively fights the monsters, thinking about how life of the weak is a tragedy, infinitely cold and endlessly dark, and so she must become stronger no matter what. That is because there is a reason she must become stronger. Eventually, all the monsters were defeated. Chan Seok approaches Sang-ah, revealing that you took care of all the other boats. She reluctantly thanked him for the advice, saying she learned a lot. Chan Seok cheekily tells her not to mention it, as the world is full of idiots who could not learn even if he spoon-fed them. But he becomes surprised when she reveals this is the first time anyone has given her advice. Chan Seok questions if her seniors or peers at the academy did not help her. Sang-ah reveals she learned everything totally, and so everyone just said it was annoying. She then reveals that there is not a single teacher. She is not surpassed. Chan Seok pouts and assures her that he will make sure she is looking up to him for the rest of his life. 2 officers promise to stand guard on the island, wishing the 2 hunters good luck. Chan Seok remembers how the survivor had said the hostages are at the shrine. Sang-ah recalls that there are 2 shrines on this island, Gaijin and Adazumi. They decide for Gaijin Shrine to be their first stop distance-wise. But Chan Seok knows the main problem is they are going in light, but the trip back will be a different story. According to the report, there are 15 hostages, and it will be even harder to get them back if they are wounded. Plus, he can feel a sinister mana beyond the fog that stings like it's tearing his skin. The corrosion creatures all over the island will be chasing them relentlessly. To avoid the creatures attacking them during the rescue and to return safely with the hostages, they need at least a vehicle. Sang-ah reveals she is a good driver, but Chan Seok soon sees reality for himself. She rushes the vehicle at a great pace with the monsters following them through the island. But Chan Seok believes reckless driving is still better than his license that has been gathering dust for 20 years. Besides, he is much better at fighting anyway. And so he aims his attack towards some monster, tightening his weapon and killing them. Chan Seok soon senses danger and warns Sang-ah how some monsters from left are coming their way. Determined, Sang-ah tells him she will take care of it. She swiftly swerves the van sideways and runs over all the monsters at once. She then laughs in satisfaction to see the gruesome creatures roll away. They continue to make their way deeper into the island with multiple monsters chasing after them. They finally see the shrine. As the vehicle enters the shrine, Chan Seok leaves out at the entrance and uses his paradox flame to stop the monstrous from chasing them. The two hunters finally spot the hostages. However, as Sang-ah introduces herself, revealing that she came to save him, one of the men begins to grow fearful and cries out, telling her to run away. Sang-ah remains confused initially, but she soon understands what the reason was. A monster multiple times more powerful than her had appeared behind her with a sword. But Chan Seok comes to her rescue, dodging the monster's attack. He tells Sang-ah to get the survivors in the car and that he will handle this one. The monster seemed to be a gigantic samurai who radiated a strange blue energy. Chan Seok blocks the monster's attack with sheer force. The samurai raises his weapon again. But before he can wield it, it gets hit by a van like a background extra in an action movie who forgot to read the script. Sang-ah glares at the creature, urging it to die. The monster lies motionlessly on the floor. Chan Seok makes his way to the van's front and forces Sang-ah to pinky promise that she won't touch the steering wheel once they get back. His wastage of time pisses her off, and she yells at him to get in. Sang-ah then reveals all the hostages are on board. But as they make their way out of the area, Sang-ah senses danger and tells Chan Seok to watch the front. Chan Seok is taken aback as he sees dozens of red-eyed monsters charging like they have all subscribed to the same horror YouTube channel. One of them lets out a screaming noise, and all of them begin rushing towards the van. Chan Seok couldn't believe they were still alive even after getting hit by a car. He borrows Sang-ah's sword, but she yells that asking the swordsman for their sword is a huge insult. But when the monsters drew closer, he reminded her that people's lives are more important. And so she has no choice but to swing the sword above the van in his direction. A few days ago, inside the Grade 3 corrosion rift, Chan Seok had acquired a glove. You remember the monster that had turned into a box and I never revealed to you what was inside it? Well, now you know. Chan Seok could instantly tell that it was not an ordinary glove, as it was gathering mana from the atmosphere. Judging by its purpose, it's likely just basic equipment meant to supplement one's own mana. But for him, it was much more than that. Taking into consideration the maximum mana storage capacity of this glove-type battery, Chan Seok estimated it was 5 minutes. During those 5 minutes, he knew he could become strong enough to rival Si-yoon. Back in the present, he activates the glove's power. The glove in his hand blows with him. Intense blue light energy surrounds the whole area. It releases its power in a single moment, unleashing a fearsome attack, hitting the entire group of monsters on the road chasing after them. Sang-ah remains in disbelief at the sight before her. She could not believe that the guy was able to suppress that many monsters in one go. Chan Seok suggests they head to the port without looking back now, but it seems fate would not let them rest in peace as the monsters kept following them to the court. Sang-ah complains that the car is at its limit and that they should just get out now and handle the monsters. But Chan Seok calmly tells her to just drive. Despite her worry, an energy barrier suddenly appears behind the vehicle. Though the van passes through it, it seemed to stop the creatures from chasing them any longer. She was shocked to see what was happening. But then she looks at a nearby wall where a protective formation of geometry was drawn and realizes it must be because of that. Earlier, Chan Seok had hinted it repels monsters, but explaining it is another world level lore was not possible, so just pretend it's magic, Karen. However, there was one drawback to this protective geometry formation. It does not work on real monsters. Another samurai monster makes its way through the barrier, its red eyes glowing, and it repeatedly says that it needs to protect this place at all costs. Classic villain monologue. The girl freezes in her position, shocked. Chan Seok senses the atmosphere has turned chilling, but it does not feel that threatening. Sang-ah nervously mutters how the mind's eye is a technique that involves opening your eyes to a new sense beyond the 5 senses in order to predict an opponent's attack. She begins to panic, saying that it is a difficult technique even for skilled masters. Chan Seok appears by her side and generally tells her not to be afraid, as in reality these techniques are all just tricks. He tells her that he will teach her how to deal with things like this. Determined, he glares at the monster. He quietly begins to approach it, confusing Sang-ah, who wonders why he is going all alone. "Oh, Sang-ah, why share the spotlight when you can flex solo, right?" Chan Seok explains that the mind's eye is data accumulated through countless combat experiences. It is like an acquired reflex created from that. Since it reacts unconsciously to things like hostility or fear, just projecting killing intent makes it end up in that sorry state. Of course, there are not many guys who can do that. With a serious expression on his face, he approaches the monster and explains to the girl that the mind's eye, heart's ward, state of selflessness, and all these so-called realms are nothing special. He says that all while flawlessly defeating the monstrous, splitting it into two with one strike of his spear. The thing is that the illusion named enlightenment is terrifying. You get excited by the special name and decide that this is enough, setting a limit for yourself. But what matters on the battlefield does not need a special name. Chan Seok can assert this, and he has the right to do so. It is because to escape that trap himself, he paid with countless sacrifices. He then comments on how the monster is a type of dude that survived getting rammed by Sang-ah's car, but it's a pity his ultimate move is merely mind's eye. Sang-ah stares at him in surprise and wonders what she achieved by herself in this subjugation. While she kept telling herself this was her best, that meant it far exceeded the strength she imagined. She knows she cannot do this with a half-hearted mindset for her goal. And so, with determination in her eyes, she asks the man to teach her for real. Sang-ah finally admits the obvious. Compared to Chan Seok, she is ridiculously weak, which is the kind of self-awareness most protagonists unlock after getting humbled 37 times. With a determined look, she says she wants to destroy Club Shaddai with her own hands. Time for context. The most dangerous corrosion rifts existing in the world are called the Great Eight. Among them, Club Shaddai is famous for swallowing the Himalayas in a single breath. Chan Seok frowns as he hears of her revenge plan. Like girl, that goal isn't ambitious, it's borderline delusional. Sang-ah reveals that she plans to take revenge for her family. Then she casually drops her family corporation card like it's a Uno reverse card. Turns out the company is worth trillions. She had already given up on the succession competition. But Chan Seok knows that if you achieve something as a hunter, you might get swept up in the succession battle anyways. She urges him to make her the best, and in return she will give him rare elixirs. She says she is aware that he wants to become stronger than he is now, just like her. With the elixirs she provides, he will be able to reach the realm he desires. Chan Seok could only sigh in response, as he knew she would not believe him even if he told her. He has already reached the realm he wanted to. The reason he needs to become stronger is solely to return the world to the way it was before, and so they shook on the deal. They get back to work and begin to move the car to the medical center. A doctor checks up on the hostages. After a quick assessment, he reveals that it will take at least a week before conversation with the hostages is possible. Chan Seok then suggests Sang-ah begin their training right away, but before they begin, he asks her if she can dodge his spear if he swings it with full power. Sang-ah knew it would not be possible, but he tells her she can dodge. That is if she uses her senses to the limit. All she needs to do is focus on her senses and fight in the realm of consciousness. But she lost the first round as he was too quick for her. He coldly reminds her that in real combat, there is no time to think, and she has to accept the senses as they are and move. Their training session went on for a while. That is, until a police officer approaches them and reveals that one of the survivors has woken up. Chan Seok suggests they end the first training session and go inside since Sang-ah has learned to blog somewhat well. Inside, the survivor reveals that unless he was hallucinating, a truck came to the place where he was held captive and people got out of it. He believes there were no hostages as they were too calm and the monsters were not hostile to them at all. Rather, it looked like they were helping them. They picked out a few hostages and moved them to the truck. Chan Seok now realizes why there were only 7 hostages when they arrived. He says it is fortunate that they were able to rescue the others due to one survivor. However, the man reveals that it was not an escape. Rather, those people let them go on purpose. Chan Seok nods, saying it makes sense. A random civilian escaping a monster nest while 2 elite hunters nearly died entering? Yeah, that's suspicious as hell. Unless someone has let them go, they should change jobs to a hunter right now. Sang-ah watches him become infuriated that they were a part of such a dirty trick. But she wonders if he is furious because they underestimate him, or is it because they used human lives to set up a trap? The hostage further reveals that on the waist of the person who got out of the truck, there was a cat mascot. After Sang-ah identifies it as an airport mascot, the two hunters make their way to the airport. Chan Seok eventually finds what they were looking for. On top of the building, a blue-haired man stares at the two hunters. Seeing his face full of piercings, Chan Seok jokes if his face is stitched with a sewing machine or something. But unlike how he looks, he knows for certain that this guy is no ordinary person. He smirks as he stares at them, calling them brats. The man introduces himself as Kim Ji-hyun, saying he will be the one taking them alive. He shows them his previous opponent as the recruiting sample. Sang-ah watches in surprise as the man casually throws him into the corrosion rift. She and everyone know that if you do that, those people will not be able to get out until the core is destroyed. But what shocks her to the core even more is when she sees that very person turning into a corrosion creature. The man wobbles his way out of the rift. Ji-hyun was disappointed, saying that since the host is weak, it is nothing special, and so he kills him off. Bro just did a failed science experiment using human beings like lab rats. Sang-ah realizes that he intends to do the same to them. It is because naturally, just sacrificing ordinary people didn't produce satisfactory corrosion creatures. Chan Seok has come to realize that these guys were not trying to make money from hostages. They needed the hostages themselves. Ji-hyun sneers, saying he doesn't care for a great introduction, but the elder told him he should explain it for the sake of the great cause. It reveals that they are descendants of Dangun. They gathered for a single purpose, to maintain and strengthen the hegemony South Korea currently holds so that no one can mess with them. Because apparently the apocalypse wasn't chaotic enough without geopolitical fanfiction. Ji-hyun effortlessly lifts two cars at once and kicks them towards his enemies with full force. The force of the impact is so great that it causes the airport building to shake greatly. Chan Seok had managed to use his weapon to protect himself and Sang-ah from the attack. He says he thought their country was already a great power, but Ji-hyun shouts that it's not enough and that they will make the country an absolute, immutable power. Ji-hyun and Chan Seok lunge towards each other, ready to fight. As Ji-hyun advances with a powerful kick in the air, he angrily reminds them to think about their country's history and what they've been through. He reminds them of the days they were forced to humiliate themselves and have their sovereignty stolen by another nation. Chan Seok assumes his enemy to be a Taekwondo black belt, but he was faster than he imagined even though he was unarmed. Chan Seok loses his balance from the sheer force Ji-hyun was utilizing in his kicks. He could understand the villain's point. If all corruption rifts disappeared, it would be hard for Korea to maintain its current position. But it is also true that this man has no intention of saving the world. He reminds Ji-hyun of how countless people's lives are being threatened. Ji-hyun sighs and says they are clueless. He reveals that they have found a way to control the corrosion rifts. Chan Seok glares at him in disbelief. If what this karate kid says is the truth, that changes things. If controlling rifts were possible, they wouldn't need to suffer here like this and could lead stable lives. And so he tells the man that he feels inclined to cooperate and asks to what extent he can control them. He says if it is pretty good, he will hand over Sang-ah, much to her surprise. But Ji-hyun becomes nervous and asks why he should tell him. Chan Seok begins to rage-bait him, saying that there are scammers who are all talk but never show the goods. Ji-hyun becomes infuriated and shuts him up with a fearsome kick. Chan Seok is able to dodge the attack but wonders if he went too far. He tried to stall to replenish some mana, but it cannot be helped. He does not have enough of it to use Paradox Flame. With his current output, a battle of attrition is the best he can do. Ji-hyun tries to attack the guy once again, but his attention diverts as Sang-ah comes in his way. By activating her lightning skills, she attacks him. Ji-hyun stares at her and comments that he thought she was staying still because she was scared, but it seems she has some courage after all. Chan Seok suggests she stay back as she cannot handle him. But Sang-ah half whispers that she saw his gauntlets remaining charge and knows he needs time, while Sang-ah drinks with Alexander. He reveals that he needs around 5 minutes. Hitting this sheep becomes instantly charged and tells him not to worry about that. And so, the battle continued, but this time with Sang-ah in the lead. She went head-to-head with Jihyun, surrounding the battlefield with her lightning. A huge lightning discharge falls from the sky and hits him. Initially, Sang-ah believes she has managed to hit him, but the blue-haired man surprises her and scoffs that it was nothing special. He charges forward and hits the girl, sending her flying backwards, but just before she can fall, Chan Seok manages to grab her. His gauntlet was now charged, and he was ready to re-enter the fight. Jihyun was instantly taken aback, as this guy's mana had increased from before. It made him wonder if he had been hiding his true strength all this time. Chan Seok points out his dumbness for leaking all the refined mana as he is spamming power he cannot handle. He even thanks him for helping him recover his paradox film as well. He then takes the enemy by surprise from behind and assures him that he is going to die today. With the fierce use of his blue trajectory, he utilizes a 16-hit combo on the enemy, defeating him in an instant. Jihyun fainted deeply as he could not feel his heartbeat. Chan Seok watches him stare at the sky, asking for the captain's help. Suddenly, a bright light shines in the sky. Before Chan Seok could process what it is, an arrow fires towards him, but he manages to block it with his spear. It seems he must prepare for a new enemy now. A mysterious hooded figure appears on the top of the building, confusing Chan Seok. But sensing the energy from the sky, he deduces that this must be the captain. He couldn't believe that there is traditional Korean archery in this day and age. He could tell that this guy is at least twice as strong as Si-yoon, or 3 or 4 times greater even. The captain's eyes glowed red with murderous intent as he questioned our protagonist if he did not fear death. Chan Seok says that if he intended to kill him, he would probably be dead by now. He then points towards his black flame skill and questions if he is interested in it. With the tip of his finger, he manages to increase the intensity of the flames that surrounded Jihyun. The captain orders him to extinguish the flames on Jihyun first. Chan Seok begins to ponder. He is aware that the blue-haired guy's mana was already depleted before he collapsed. It is the guy in the hood that keeps him alive with his own mana. Even so, if the arrow he just shot had aimed for his head instead of his wrist, he would be dead by now. But he did not do that. And so, Chan Seok eventually replenished the black flames. The captain catches Jihyun's body and then turns to face his enemy, questioning if he realizes what he has done to this poor man. Since Jihyun has no muscle strength left, he will have to spend his youth in a wheelchair with a catheter circulating his blood with mana. He aims his energy-infused arrow at Chan Seok, angrily saying it doesn't matter what he does to him as long as he takes him alive. Chan Seok, however, he stares at him with sheer determination, saying he would rather drop dead from a heart attack than become his puppet. The captain withdraws, saying that he needs to understand the principles of that flame he produced. He then tells Chan Seok that when the corrosion rifts appeared, no one thought they could be controlled. Even so, he succeeded. And so someday he desires for Chan Seok to be under his control inevitably as well. With that, he disappears with Jihyun. Chan Seok sighs, knowing he has gotten entangled with someone with a really nasty temper. He later debriefs the situation to Sang-ah, revealing how those individuals are after his unique skill. He even goes to the extent of blaming the Korean government for being in on it. He suggests Sang-ah pretend they do not know this new information. First, they need to deal with the current rift. Chan Seok jumps in, telling Sang-ah to rest and recover in the meantime. Chan Seok is transported to a Grade 2 corrosion rift, Tsushima. He stares at the building and thinks of how, for a castle of squishy undead, it is terrifyingly solid. Plus, the yin energy feels like it pierces his lungs with every breath. He can tell without being told that right behind this door is the core of the corrosion rift. Chan Seok does not like thinking like this before a battle, but if he lets his guard down even a little, he could die. And so he makes his way through the doors and finds a huge cauldron. It contained green energy. He wonders if it is truly the core of the greater rift, as it is too different from what he expected. However, he suddenly grows alert as a hand grabs his leg. It was a man crawling towards him with tears in his eyes, begging to be saved. He cries about how his legs are gone and he is in pain. However, he instantly disappears from his sight as the monster within the cauldron takes him away. When the man jumps out of the cauldron, he is now a monster. Chan Seok has now come to realize that the cauldron was creating the undead. He stares at the cauldron with a painful expression on his face. As he thinks about multiple people screaming and calling for help, Chan Seok feels disgusted by what he witnessed and he curses the enemies for being cruel. Just then, a voice from behind says of how he is and other sacrifices, but it admits that he differs from the previous ones as he emanates a fierce yet familiar energy, the energy of a warrior. The figure seemed to be that of a swordsman infused with a green aura. He tells Chan Seok to draw his weapon, for he shall temper his blade with his blood. Chan Seok's eyes widen in shock as he wonders if this is the core of the Grade 2 corrosion rift. The pressure was enough to make the hair on his body stand on end. It was shocking to see that the hooded man from earlier subdued this monster alive and was controlling it. It was unbelievable, to say the least. But Chan Seok concludes that there is someone stronger than the captain. However, he gets cut off from his thoughts as the enemy draws his weapon. The monster coldly warns him that carelessness will result in death. Chan Seok barely manages to dodge the attack, knowing he is screwed. The monster comments that his lifeline is long. Chan Seok tightens his grip on his weapon, knowing the method for dealing with the strong enemy is simple. He must end it in a single strike before they grasp his weakness. Although he utilized his maximum output, he was shocked to see that the monster was quicker and managed to block him. But what he finds even more surprising is that he did not see the blocking motion at all. He barely manages to avoid death as the monster swings its sword near his mouth, earning him a little scar. The monster praises him for doing well at making him miss his vital points. He then unleashes another attack, mocking him to try blocking this as well. But Chan Seok is hit again and winces in pain as his neck gets injured. He eventually falls to the floor, unable to defend himself while the monster watches. Chan Seok quivers as he tries raising his sword to activate Paradox Flame. But the problem is, since the monster is not a living being, Paradox Flame has no meaning as an attack. Staggering, he manages to stand up and wonders what to do. The monster watches him in amusement, wondering as well what must be done to make him fall. Out of the blue, our protagonist is hit by an invisible force, crushing every muscle in his body. Despite him trying to resist, the monster was way too powerful. Just before the monster could wield his sword to end things, Chan Seok instantly rushes towards the back and swings his sword with great might. He had nearly lost consciousness for an instant, but for some reason the monster failed to tear the muscles above his shoulders. Chan Seok knows he must use Paradox Flame to boost his recovery and rapidly heal the torn muscles. He wonders if he has a chance now that he has taken the monster's back before he noticed. However, he was too delusional to think that as the monster quickly turns around with his sword and strikes, saying that he is too slow. But the monster strikes near his head. He calls him lucky that he had missed. But Chan Seok, who had drawn back, tells him not to give him that crap, as he definitely could have killed him. He points out how the monster has been holding back the finishing blow and keeping him alive this whole time. He asks if he's toying with him out of pity. The monster mocks that he certainly could have killed him. That is, if it were the old him. Right now, this one cannot even recall a single name because most of his memories from life have been lost. He reveals that the gaps in his technique caused by memory loss were fatal. And so, after being defeated by an unidentified man, he was even fitted with his disgraceful shackle. Chan Seok knows this was the opposite situation of his. The body remains, but the experience and memories are mostly gone. The shackle must be the control those guys were talking about. The monster bitterly expresses that he has lost too much, including his name and the reason he took up the sword. All that remains is resentment steeped in sorrow. Chan Seok then watches in astonishment as new energy begins to surround the monster's body. He now wonders what to do. The monster flicks his head back, revealing his appearance, questioning if it does not seem truly pitiful. Chan Seok could clearly sense the samurai's resentment growing tenser. However, he has lost a significant amount of his technique and experience. If this person cannot kill him in one strike, he has a chance of winning. And so he knows that to defeat him, he must pour out his full power. The monster watches the human restore his energy quietly. He knew Chan Seok's wounds and energy were restored due to the black flames covering him. The monster points out how he possesses a peculiar ability and that black flame seems to be burning something else. Chan Seok smirks, revealing that this flame burns concepts. But he knows that despite its appearance as infinite destructive power, that is not quite the case right now. It is because the greater the quantity and scope of the concept, the more mana and proficiency it demands. When he took down Jihyun, he had to be careful not to burn away his own muscle strength as well. Of course, if it were the old him from the previous world, he wouldn't have needed to worry about control. But the current him is merely a fruit knife. Chan Seok has been using the technique with minimal risk so far, but it seems this isn't the time to be picky about that. And so from now on, he has decided to burn away all of this place's durability. The monster hears this but does not understand it entirely. Chan Seok switches his hand, saying he's done explaining, so they will skip it. Now that he has figured out the monster has a limit, things will work out perfectly for him. They move out of the building while constantly fighting with different auras and energies. Their weapons clash together fiercely, but in the end, it was the monster whose weapon remained unaltered. Chan Seok's spear split into two halves. He watches as the monster effortlessly splits a large rock into pieces. Its debris comes crashing down, but Chan Seok manages to pull himself through it. Unwavering, he jumps into the air, charging at the monster once again. He launches a blue energy trajectory to attack the enemy. The energy-infused blue blades simultaneously attack the monster, piercing through its body and causing an explosion. The impact was so great that it caused the monster to fall back on the ground. The monster remains in utter shock as he is pulled backwards and says he has never encountered this, even on the battlefields of the past. The stares at the heel, money in wonderment and questions just what is he, but Chan Seok wasn't done yet. He activates the blue trajectory and unleashes his spear with immense force, aiming at the monster. With multiple strikes at once, the monster is literally sliced into pieces. It shrieks in pain louder and louder. Chan Seok continues to charge without intending to stop. The battlefield was covered with flames until the clash of opposing energies led to an explosion. The scene shifts to a flashback. A younger warrior questions an older man about what to do with an undefeated or equally powered opponent. The older man says that if such a person were to appear, one between the two wouldn't be coming out alive. Back in the present, the corrosion rift monster dissipates. As for Chan Seok, he remembers the distant memory and smiles, realizing he is certainly the strongest. Chan Seok watches the monster convert into a reward box. He was glad that the way it appears is exactly the same as in the other world, but he frowns as he takes out a short spear from inside. But he realizes that its length can be extended using mana as he wields it around, realizing it can be useful. He remembers how rewards dropped based on the number of people who entered the corrosion rift. He returns to the airport building and throws a sword at sleeping Sang-ah. He reveals that he found it on his way here and that she should take it. Sang-ah was surprised as she assesses the great and well-maintained sword. She eventually realizes that he took the sword from the corrosion rift and questions if he is okay. Chan Seok staggers his way towards her and asks if she has gotten enough rest. His vision becomes dizzy as he begins to collapse to the ground, saying that it is now his time to get some rest. There is an insurmountable wall between Grade 3 and Grade 2. Because of that, when the news of Chan Seok's solo clear of a Grade 2 became public, the weight of that achievement was on a completely different level. The civilians were in awe as a rookie had done alone what even most capable hunter duos found hard. And so more and more people began to ponder about Chan Seok's true identity. Chan Seok, on the other hand, he found it annoying that he cannot walk in public casually, or check his important messages because his phone was buzzing with hundreds of notifications. He is soon approached by the Secretariat of the Embargo Tower. He thanks her for covering his hospital bills. She tries to be hospitable, but he suggests that they get straight to the point because these treatments and hospital room fees must not be for free after all. The shield generator is a device that creates a barrier to defend against corrosion creatures. The Secretariat reveals to him that transporting a shield generation device utilizes mana and that she wants to entrust that job to him. Over time, if successfully mass-produced, it will be able to bring some relief to areas that hunters cannot reach. It is a crucial mission that could potentially change the fate of humanity. Since it is a large-scale request, they're currently checking if other hunters are willing to cooperate as well. The Secretariat further reveals that Janabi has agreed to assist them this time. Hearing this, Chan Seok guesses this is a much bigger deal than he thought if that guild is involved. The Secretariat further elaborates that they will be transporting the shield generator by train. Once it arrives in the Netherlands, it will be immediately sent via helicopter to Dover in the UK for a test run. It must be transported to the UK because it is the only safe place since it is slightly protected by the sea. As for Europe, it is currently in a state of anarchy, with governments failing to function properly and hunter companies seizing control of various regions like warlords. Because of this issue, they will be transporting relief supplies at the request of international organizations. Chan Seok knew this means that there will be a considerable number of people targeting the train carrying the shield generator. Through further talk, he reveals this will be his first time in Europe. The Secretariat reveals she might likely go as well, and that they will likely encounter many horrific situations there. Chan Seok agrees to go, but on the condition that he will bring Hunter Ah Sang as well. With that, he agrees to work with them, hoping to expand his influence much faster. But it seems his influence has already expanded, considering the corporation had brought him a helicopter just to pick him up. It seems soloing a Grade 2 corrosion rift really is different from a Grade 3 one. The chairman of the embargo tower comes out, and he gets to meet with him, but he then wonders if the chairman knows about them. Would the chairman want this wretched reality that has befallen Earth to end someday, or would he want it to be maintained? Chan Seok enters the helicopter and is greeted by Si Yoon. As the helicopter took off, she revealed that they were heading to the army base because the South Korean military was also planning to participate in this request from Embargo Tower. He could understand why everyone is interested in this mission. If they succeed in attaining a shield generator, it will mean their reliance on hunters for national defense would decrease. However, from South Korea's perspective, he does not think they would like that very much. He asks Si Yoon if she is aware of an organization called the Descendants of Dangun. Si Yoon replies in affirmation, saying it is an ultranationalist terrorist group and that she is more surprised that he knows about them. He then reveals his encounter with them on his last mission. Si Yoon discloses that the terrorist group is composed entirely of Koreans and has been showing up all over the place. When hunters are in the middle of clearing a rift, their specialty is suddenly popping up and interfering. Chan Seok says he understands the gist of their mission. Seun's face turns grim as she hears it, and she hands him a pumpkin taffy. She then questions the man if he has not been to another country before. Chan Seok was getting a bit annoyed as everyone seemed to keep asking him about his overseas experience, but you will soon realize why it was the case. Si Yoon remarks that this mission will probably make him realize a bunch of things.